The best sort of inner voice speaks to us in a gentle, kind, and unhurried way. It should feel as if a sympathetic arm were being put around our shoulder by someone who had lived long and seen a great many sad things.
In my opinion, there isn't an album more audibly consuming than Porter Robinson's World. Every single song on his debut 2014 record consumes you, blasting his signature ethereal sound into your ears as you get transported to all the different fictional universes of the album. World has become renowned in the past 11 years since its release, for single-handedly changing the electronic dance music scene, inspiring EDM artists to innovate and tell stories through their music. Porter's previous single, Language, was a drastic change for his art, following his debut extended play Spitfire, which focuses on a lot heavier of the complextro sound which Porter himself defined just 3 years earlier. The Spitfire EP was well received by dance music fans and brought Porter Robinson to the mainstream dance scene, crashing Beatport's website on the day of release after promotion tweets from Skrillex and Tiesto. Even though Porter has now cemented himself as a big name in the electronic music community, he started to desire a more melodic, storytelling element in his music. And with the Karma Language single being received positively by his existing EDM audience, he started work on Worlds, his first full-length album, an album which would tell the 12 fictional tales we know today, and go on to change the course of electronic music forever. This is the story of an album, a hand, a Unicode art face, and a lonely AI robot searching for a friend. I hope you'll join me for the final episode of the trilogy which changed my life. This is A World Story. As soon as you press play on the album, you are hit with the renowned vocal chops of the opener's Divinity, featuring Amy Millan from Stars, a band prominent in Porter's childhood. The track is built around the vocal chops hook, with beautiful slow verses from Amy Millan, leading into a booming chorus, which is a contrast I really love, and I think is the perfect opener since it shows the highs and lows of the album to come.
Divinity was one of the first songs I wrote for the album. I hadn't written it as an intro originally, but I knew it needed to be moved to the front of the production, and then everything just really flowed out of it from there. I felt like I'd kind of stumbled upon the sound of Worlds, that's why I felt it was really critical to have it as the first song.
Sometimes I forget that this song is 6 minutes long. It goes by that fast because it's so good. The thing about Worlds is the songs can really mean what you make them, since Porter has said they don't really have a place in reality. And to me, Divinity is the beautiful nature of small, intimate moments with other people. Moments which you'll think back to in a few years and feel nostalgic over, even though it was only a brief interaction in the grand scheme of things. It's the sunrises and sunsets, it's watching people go by with someone you hold dear. Holding these memories close and feeling grateful is what Divinity is to me. Never feeling more alive than in this current moment with you, watching the world go by. Fan favourite Sad Machine tells the story of a lone human discovering a lost AI robot after an end-of-the-world apocalypse. The song uses Vocaloid program Ivana, and the song is a duet between Porter and her.
I just thought the notion of a human and robot duet was something that was really beautiful and touching to me, and that vibe really evoked a whole feeling of fantasy and fiction and escapism that I wanted the album to have.
The track has a synth hook, which has become famous in online culture since its release, and has been described as one of the greatest dance tracks of the 2010s. Sad Machine plays with the concept of man versus robot, a future where only our creations are left behind. The song is cutesy, but also very intricate in the story it tells. After the world is wiped by a bomb, the AI is awakened by the world's only surviving man, leaving them to traverse the empty planet together, in search of humanity but never finding it. The two depended on each other to survive, the AI helping the human to live in the post-apocalyptic world, and the man showing the robot how to feel. The boy is the AI's only friend now, but will eventually pass away, leaving the robot alone once again. Even in the distant future, millions and millions of years ahead, when all of us are gone and robots control the planet, It will have taken an entire nuclear disaster to finally give the AI a feeling only humans have ever felt: loneliness. Possibly the most underrated cut of the entire album, Years of War, one of my personal favourites, explores an imaginary conflict and war taking place in a world full of pillow forts and foam swords. It's a track I like to think is about imagination and the innocence and pure freeing feeling of being young. Brianne Duran features on the song, someone who I am quite familiar with after her vocal features on many Owl City tracks.
I wanted a cute vocal for this song, as weird as that sounds. I wanted someone who had a very sweet kind of timbre, and Brianne Duran made absolute sense for that. To me, the whole motif behind worlds, the whole idea behind the album, is this idea of fiction and fictional worlds. For some people that's literature, and for other people that's movies, and for me it's video games, and I imagine this imaginary conflict.
The track's hook was the first part written for the song, but ended up taking many days to complete, making this song one of the hardest and longest songs to develop on the album. As the drop hits, the crunchiest bass you've ever heard plays alongside, and that's probably my favourite part of the whole song. Years of War takes me back to when I was a kid, not worrying or caring about all the issues that I have now, not even knowing where I was going in life, just existing as a child and experiencing the world as a more creative and curious person. Porter describes Years of War as a cute song, not something you would immediately think of based on the title and lyrics, but I wholeheartedly agree with him. Especially with Brianne's vocals, this track is excellent and deserves twice the praise it gets. Inspired by Daft Punk's Discovery and a love for flipping samples, Flickr was born after putting various scrap song titles from Porter's desktop into a text-to-speech machine, translating them to Japanese, and flipping them into this electropop dance track.
Flickr is one of the songs that structurally goes to a lot of different places, and it's not meant to be a pop song, it's more of a little journey. And yeah, I think it's a charming song, and it's one of the ones I'm proudest of.
The Japanese lyrics in the track loosely translate in English to various metaphors for Porter leaving EDM behind, and putting more meaning into his music. Lines such as, "I'm just trying to find what's important to me," being a direct reference to his departure from 2000s EDM. Flickr is very much inspired by Japan and Japanese culture, with even the official music video that you're seeing right now being completely captured from a high-speed train in Japan. When Flickr hit streaming as World's fourth single, it became obvious how influential Worlds would end up being to the electronic music scene. Nothing like this was ever really heard before in mainstream EDM, and Porter would continue to innovate as his song developed into what it is today.
I chopped up the Japanese text, and that's where you get that watashi wa hook from, and I just thought it was the most charming little thing.
Fresh Static Snow, a song that means a fuck ton to me, is based on the concept of soulmates, and the fact on how everybody out there will never meet the person that makes them the happiest, because the world is so damn large. I play this song when I'm personally at my loneliest, sat at my computer, listening to Spotify by myself, like every day in my life, one after the other, pining for an end to my loneliness. Fresh Static Snow is not a happy song. I would describe it more as bittersweet, and sometimes that's exactly what you need, a song that speaks the things you are feeling. In this day and age, the internet is where most social interactions happen. It's infinitely easier to talk through text, behind a screen and a profile picture, than socializing in real life, something I find extremely difficult. And as technology continues to advance, connections being formed over the internet will just start becoming the norm for everyone. I enjoy the fact that Fresh Static Snow will always be here as a song, a timeless companion for me when I gain and lose both friends and partners. It's here at 3 AM when I want nothing more than a hand to hold, and it's here on the sunniest days when I'm feeling content. Fresh Static Snow gives me this intensely bittersweet comfort, which no other track has ever made me feel before.
To me, Fresh Static Snow is about this idea that I was really obsessed with when I was at my loneliest. About this idea that there necessarily exists a best romantic partner for every person in the world somewhere out there. I mean, there are billions of people out there and you'll only meet a fraction of them. And to me, the likelihood that you'll ever meet a person who will make you that happy is just infinitesimal. That person is out there existing and is walking and is like eating their breakfast cereal or whatever right now, looking all cute. And that notion that you will never know each other, that made me really sad.
Though I'll never know your name, I've cried same.
Closing the first half of the album, Polygon Dust is a song that takes you right back with nostalgia. It has these kind of 8-bit bass lines and glitchy synths. It's a pleasure to listen to, and I think this song is what I would choose if I had to pick the song on Worlds that sounds most like the album cover. For Nurture, it's definitely trying to feel alive, and Smile is maybe a toss-up between Cheerleader and Is There Really No Happiness. But Polygon Dust stands out clearly as being the retro bass, thumping electronic track of the record. The vocals are performed by Norwegian duo Lionhearted, and the definition behind the song is kind of unclear, even to Porter himself.
Why do you hate Polygon Dust? It's top 3 off Worlds. I actually don't understand. I don't hate it, but I just don't love it as much as the rest of that album. I'm not really sure like what the lyrics are about.
But to me, Polygon Dust gives me vibes of a world taken over by nature after not being looked after by its inhabitants. A man exploring a deserted Earth, finding remains of skyscrapers and broken machinery, when global warming has already taken its toll on the planet.
I think that's my favorite title on the album. I just think it's a cool name, Polygon Dust. I was making these kind of chopped up vocals and screwed beats that don't really follow the grid, and while I was doing that, I wrote this melody. When I started looking for vocal features, Lemaitre totally had the sound.
Canadian band Imaginary Cities gets their 2015 release Bells of Cologne remixed by Porter on Worlds' 7th track. Hear the Bells opens with an 8-bit style hook which just reeks nostalgia to me. The track has this sort of choir sound to it, a slow build-up of vocals and instruments. It starts slow, before you are hit with this epic booming drop. This song gives me big vibes of a kingdom being overthrown by its citizens. I think it's just incredible.
Hear the Bells, I think it's quite pretty. I wanted a song that had a big explosive climax type thing to use a chord progression that felt triumphant but also a little happy, and I love the Imaginary Cities vocal.
Hear the Bells is Worlds at its core. It's exactly the type of thing you want to hear on an album like this, crunchy, heavy-hitting and danceable. It's not only a fantastic song, but a reminder to not let life pass you by. Acknowledge the kind people around you, make note of those days where you're at peace, and appreciate your happiest moments. After all, you won't hear this on the radio. The album's only interlude, Natural Light, uses a mixture of vocals and pads to create a dreamy 2-minute experience. Inspired by artists such as Aphex Twin and Venetian Snares, Natural Light is one of the outliers on the album, being that it has no vocals. This track is so great because it's both clean and ethereal sounding, but also slightly messy and all over the place with its samples, slightly comparable to Dual Scythe from Porter Robinson's Nurture.
I wanted a lot of those rhythms, almost just arbitrarily cut up loops, and I thought it'd be cool to have another kind of late sounding, sassy, semi-soulful beat mixed with that. IDM stuff from my childhood.
The track is usually criticised for its lack of layers, but the absence of those so-called layers is what, I think, makes this song a perfect interlude for Worlds. It's a break from the heavy-hitting drum smashers and Vocaloid robots wandering the end of the universe. It's a break, but it's not a happy break. It's melancholic. Porter describes that the song isn't meant to feel mournful or incredibly depressing or full of grief. It's an idle sadness, a small feeling in the back of the mind, for reasons you just can't quite figure out. That's why Natural Light is so underrated. What other interlude can make you feel feelings you didn't even know you had? Lionhearted is probably the most pop-sounding track on the record, and for whatever reason, it has gone mostly unacknowledged by Porter since its release, which I think is a shame because there is a lot to love here. There's been a lot of debate on why this is, why he will never play it live or talk about the track. I don't even have a quote for this one, since it was the only song excluded from the World's Commentary album. This song has far more credits in the metadata of the track, which suggests many other people assisted in the creation of the song, which could make it feel less personal to him, or as if it was the label's attempt of getting Porter into the mainstream. Whatever the reason is, which we will probably never truly know, it's disappointing that Lionhearted isn't often allowed to show its colours, because it's an absolutely groundbreaking dance track for its time. With vocals from Sweden's Urban Cone, this song has this futuristic synth-pop feel, with an amazing plucky hook giving big vibes of early 2010s electronica, like M83's Midnight City. The song is a well-needed dance break, in between some pretty heavy-hitting cuts on the album. I'm not too sure what's going on in the music video for this song, but what I do know is that Porter has never had so much aura. Sea of Voices was the first single released for the album. This was what introduced the world to Porter's brand new music era. From his old dubstep and heavy dance music days, Sea of Voices is an absolutely stunning, one-of-a-kind song, with these ethereal sounding pads and repeated inner perfect world lines, which build and build throughout the song, culminating to the drop. Porter was originally going to use a Vocaloid for the vocals in this track, but they actually ended up being signed by Brian Duran, and that's how Sea of Voices' renowned vocals are today.
Sea of Voices was an immense effort. That song has gone through so many iterations. It first had this weird structure. It wasn't called Sea of Voices, it was a totally different chord progression, totally different set of sounds. It was still kind of a long builder, but the sounds were more contemporary.
Sea of Voices at its core is about endings. Possibly the ending of friendships, possibly the ending of these dream worlds the album creates, possibly death. It's similar, but a lot more calm and tender than Goodbye to a World, the album's closer. This is the primest example of Porter's goal for this album, to create something beautiful and emotional and delicate and sincere to himself and his values.
I was really into this idea of orchestral instrumentation. It was very beautiful to me, and as time went on, I got a little bit more into other sounds that were larger and more grandiose sounding. I wanted it to be a very pretty thing that somehow turned into this very hateful, violent, ugly thing. To me, Fellow Feeling stands for what I wanted people to feel when it came to aggressive electronic beats, where my head was at during that time, and how that music was making me feel.
Fellow Feeling was the song which stopped me from making this video originally, since I didn't really feel comfortable making a documentary on an album which wasn't all perfect 10s to me yet. This was the only Porter track I actually, dare I say it, didn't like. But a few months ago, I remember it being one of those many nights where I'm at my mouse and keyboard, alone at about 3 AM, and I was listening to Worlds all the way through, and Fellow Feeling came on, and genuinely it just completely clicked. I've never seen something like that happen before with a song, but now it's become one of my top 3 from Worlds. From the bottom to almost the top. I think it's just absolutely stunning, man. The opening hook plays over and over, and it's actually quite calming at first. The spoken word verses, this ugliness, this cruelty, this repulsiveness, it will all die out, and now I cry for all that is beautiful. The noise pollution in the second act of the song, showing Porter's stance on EDM music at the time. The breathtaking final drop, when the beauty overthrows the hatred in the story. When the beeping and the noise blasts of the midway point of the song fade away, to give room to, in my opinion, the most intense drop of the album. Fellow Feeling is not just a statement, not just a story, not just a song, but a monumental breakthrough in electronic music. A track which I will never, ever dislike again. The album's closer, Goodbye to a World, is a song I would like to talk about a bit differently because of the feeling it evokes from me.
The thing about RPGs is that when an online role-playing game that millions of people are connected to goes away, when the game ceases to be profitable and the servers shut down, it's not like other games where 10 years down the line you can just plug in the cartridge and bask in the nostalgia. It's not like that. Once those games are gone, those worlds that you very much immersed yourself in are gone. And that was a big deal to me when my favorite games disappeared and I couldn't go there anymore. And as an adult now, I think it's just a very romantic notion, and that's why I think the whole idea of a beautiful apocalypse is really evocative to me. Like a beautiful world just disappearing in a clean way. That's sort of how I see it.
Apart from being the official theme tune for the fucking backrooms on TikTok, in my opinion, there is not a song on Worlds that has changed more lives than this one. It's almost everybody's introduction to this album. Sometimes it's how they discovered Porter's music for the very first time. A lot of people see this song as the end of the universe, or a continuation of Sad Machine, or death, or suicide, or something in between, and that's fine. But this time, I'm going to make this one about me. To me, Goodbye to a World has always been about the internet. My entire life revolves around the internet, and it has done so for the past 7 years. I would be a completely different, worse human being if it weren't for the beauty of the online world. Do you know how much easier it is to hide behind a profile picture and text someone online instead of speaking to them in person? Of course you do, because you're a chronically online Porter Robinson fan watching this video about Worlds. And I know that because I am too. We have Porter Twitter, we have Block Yourself Out, we are all friends in a way which wouldn't be possible in real life, due to distance, due to social anxiety, due to health, due to basically anything. We are so lucky to live in a time in which the internet exists. Now imagine if that all disappeared, overnight. Everything we had built together, all the friends you had made, gone. I'd be a completely lost soul. Nobody to talk to, nothing to do. The online world has shaped and changed my life. I had, and still have, 0 IRL friends since I dropped out of school. Where would I be now if I didn't meet my amazing best friends, by chance, on a Minecraft server? Where would I be if I didn't post this nurture video and talk to some of the kindest people I've ever met in my life? Goodbye to a World makes me so incredibly grateful to live in this time, because just like the inspirations for this song, the old, now defunct MMORPGs which Porter holds so dear, the internet could just become non-existent. All the friends I've made, all the comments I've replied to, all the hours I've put into hobbies which make me happy, all now just a memory. So I just want to say thank you. To my best friends who are absolute pricks, but I love so much, thank you. To everyone I've met who has shaped my life in a way I can't even explain, thank you. To the artists and creators whose art I couldn't have discovered without the joy of algorithms and recommendations, thank you. To the games which kept me occupied, even when I was at my very lowest and struggling to hold on any longer, thank you. To the kind people who have liked, commented and subscribed to little old me, waffling about Porter Robinson, thank you. I hope you'll stick with me as I expand to talk about everything else which I hold dear. And finally, to you, for watching.
I'm